And now, heard across the world, it's time for Third and One with your host, Ryan Hyde.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Third and One. Today's guest spent his entire CFL career with the BC Lions. He won Grey Cups with the Lions in 2006 and 2011. He's a 2008 CFL All-Star and also a four-time CFL West All-Star. Please welcome to the show, Dante Marsh.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on today, Dante.
Oh, indeed. Indeed.
So how have you been spending your time during the COVID outbreak?
Training. Got a lot of young athletes that I'm training and mentoring and just trying to stay ahead of the curve. It's a lot of downtime. So it's a great time to reinvent yourself, get back to your creative side. And, you know, you get a chance to reflect and think and if you do not come out of this situation better, then that's a problem.
I 100% agree with that. And that's exactly how I got into doing this podcast stuff, actually. I had, a bit of extra time and I thought, what can I do with myself? And a light bulb kind of went off in my head and said, hey, start doing podcasting. So, and that's what I did. So
Definitely.
So you were born in Oakland, California. What was it like growing up in Oakland?
Oakland is a very beautiful place. It has its dark side, and obviously, the Bay Area has money, so to speak. But it's different now. It's the gentrification is taking place, and Oakland isn't Oakland anymore. To what I've known it for my 41 years of life. Oakland is a breeding ground for very successful people, especially minorities. You talk about the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton. You talk about the Pointer Sisters. You talk about Sheila E. You talk about the 60s and the whole, the Vietnam thing. And then you have protests and you have, we're more laid back. You talk about numerous athletes, celebrities, and activists getting their start and really putting Oakland and the Bay Area as a whole on the map. For me, it shaped the man who I am today. I did have a mother and father in the household. However, growing up in the 80s and 90s, there were a lot of things that could distract you in the streets. So it was either, you go this way, or you play sports and do this over here on this side. So I think I have little to no regrets in regards to my upbringing because like I said, it shaped who I am today. So I'm very thankful for being where I'm from. I love it dearly, and it's just, to me, it's the greatest place on earth.
Okay. Are you back in Oakland now?
No, because I can't afford to live in Oakland. When I had moved to Atlanta in 2006, I had a house built out in Atlanta. So I lived in Atlanta for 7 years. And then when I moved back, it was just outrageous. And I'm not going to pay, double what mortgages are for rent, if that makes sense. So, and it's different, like I said, but I'm always back and forth. My sister still stays in the Bay Area, my aunt, my cousin, and my other extended family. So I'm about an hour outside the Bay Area, so it's no big deal.
Okay, and I totally understand the idea of paying more for mortgages and stuff. That's why I'm in Port Alberni on Vancouver Island. It's relatively cheap here, considering Victoria and Vancouver are sky high, as you know about Vancouver. And why go house broke when you can live comfortably and get a few more things you might want to have, and live your life happily, right? So
It's all about the quality of life. You don't want to be stuck in a rat race all your life, just trying to make ends meet to pay bills. And I you don't want to be a slave to a house. Because I mean, in theory, I've owned 2 houses. I had a rental property and I owned my primary address when I moved to Atlanta, and it was comfortable. You know, about $250,000 for a 3,400 square foot house with all the bells and whistles. So, you know, you can, you know, different places here in the States, you can really carve out a beautiful life in terms of, you know, the types of homes you can afford, but there's no place like California. So I know it's expensive as hell to live here. However, when you're born and raised here, it really doesn't resonate with you. Like, it's just, that's what it is. So, you know, you got all year round, you got pretty good weather. If you want to be a inner city guy, which I was, you know, you got multiple inner cities here. If you want to be a farmer, you know, you can, in the valley, you can farm. If you want to be a surfer dude, you either, you know, you got Santa Cruz and then you got Southern California. If you want to be a mountain man, you could go. It's just every aspect of life is here in this one state. And this state is so big, it can possibly be broken up into 3. So, I mean, you know, you can't ask for anything better. Like, everything is here. So I guess that's why it's like it's prime location and great real estate.
For sure. So since we're talking about Oakland, I might as well ask this. This just came up in my mind. Did you ever get have any doings with Marshawn Lynch? You ever see him around at all, or?
Marshawn is from the same area that I'm from in Oakland. He's younger than me though.
Yeah.
We've done a bunch of like charity things, and we know a lot of the same people. So it's like his mom is real cool. We do golf tournaments and stuff like that. So he actually does a lot at home in terms of buying up some real estate. You know, he can afford to do that. So he's done a great job of giving back in the community. And him, as well as Marcus Peters, who went to my high school. I played for Marcus Peters' dad at McClymonds High School in West Oakland. And you know, some of our rapper friends, Mr. Fab, you know, and they're doing a great job of giving back and creating that community environment. So that's a very good thing. So
yeah, for sure. So you went to McClymonds High in West Oakland. What was that like?
McClymonds was that I graduated from McClymonds. I went to Berkeley High originally.
Okay.
I should have been going to Oakland Tech because I'm from North Oakland and that's where I live. So at the time, that was pre-Marshawn, Oakland Tech was not very good. Had athletes, but they weren't a good program. So my Pop Warner program was in Berkeley, which borders North Oakland real close. So it's not like very far. And since we had a real good Pop Warner program or Little League football program, and was very successful. One of our coaches was the JV coach at Berkeley High School. So he encouraged a lot of us to, you know, like you should, you know, funnel us to Berkeley High. Most of the kids, we were all from Oakland anyway. Like I said, the city, Berkeley is fairly close to Oakland. So he was like, yeah, we'll get you guys a, you know, like a feeder program to go to Berkeley High. Cause I'm now coaching over there and, you know, I'll be the varsity coach and then we could build a program, yada, yada, yada. So, and my mom graduated from Berkeley High and my sister did too. So it wasn't like it was unfamiliar territory. So we all decided to go to Berkeley High, had some success there. After my junior year, the 2 coaches, Coach Mike Tuiasosopo, who's been a college coach for years and years, and Coach Gradwall, they got better jobs, you know, and then they left. So after they built that program prior to my senior year, Coach Tuiasosopo got a college job, and Coach Gradwall left, and I think he went back up to Washington, close to where you at to coach, you know, because he was from up that way. So in any event, they built up the program, and then 4 guys got scholarships to University of Colorado. And after that, you know, we didn't have a coach for 6 months in the off season. So then we got a new coach, Joe Martin. He came in and we butted heads, and it got off with a rocky start. And so in my senior year, after the third game of the season, I transferred to McClymonds on a Monday and played that Friday. Like, you could never do that again.
Wow.
So it was the best decision of my life. I met a young Alonzo Carter, who's been my mentor and pretty much like an uncle to me since then. I've watched him. He's the running backs coach at San Jose State currently. He gave me my first coaching job once I was finished up in BC in 2015. He's developed and produced so many Division I athletes since we were his first group back in '97. And I've watched him build his self, and he's, finally got his dream of coaching Division I college football. So we just, we started a pipeline over there at McClymonds in West Oakland, and a lot of guys have been able to garner scholarships out of that school. And also the alumni is so deep. When you look at the notable people that went to McClymonds, you're talking about Bill Russell, you're talking about Veda Pinson, you're talking about Roy Shivers. It's a long list of very good NBA, NFL, MC Hammer. It's deep. It's rich in history and notable alumni. So that was pretty cool.
That is cool. So when you're at McClymonds, is that kind of when things kind of went off, bells went off in your head and thought, hey, I could run with this. I can make a career out of this?
No, I was already getting recruited at Berkeley High. My transcript was in disarray, though. I wasn't my business academically. So by me going to McClymonds, I was able to get my head on straight and buckle down. It's my senior year, and I was this close to having to take the junior college route. But I got it together, buckled down, passed my SAT, and the rest is history. I knew from a very young age I wanted to play professional football. That's the thing. I know a lot of people say that and it's cliche, but at 5 years old, I knew what I wanted to do. I'm watching the Chicago Bears with my dad, Walter Payton. Everybody loves sweetness, and that was a dream of mine. Obviously, at 5, 6 years old, you don't really know the steps to take, and you don't know what it's going to take to get you there. You just know that's what you want to do. So over the years, maturing and getting older and training and continuing to play the sport and to develop in that sport, when I got to 11th, 12th grade, it's like I'm getting, scholarship offers. Yeah, I'm going to go to college with this thing. So it did materialize in that aspect, and I was able to go to Fresno State as Pat Hill's first recruiting class, myself, David Carr. We had a bunch of great guys in that first recruiting class. And I was a Bulldog true and through. And those 4 years were very good. And about the end of my sophomore year, junior year, I started to realize, I might be able to play professional, like for real. And just bust my tail and stayed steadfast on doing what I needed to do and got an opportunity with the Tennessee Titans.
Wow. So you talk about, having a vision at 4 or 5 years old of, playing professional football and knowing what you wanted to do. That gets into like the law of attraction, at a really, really young age. And you obviously, you set a goal for yourself and you did everything you had to do to get there. It's like a vision board, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. That's amazing. You played college ball in Western Athletic Conference with the Fresno State Bulldogs in 97, 98, and 99.
And 2000.
And 2000.
Yeah.
You recorded 8 interceptions in 34 games. What can you tell our listeners about your time with the Bulldogs?
My experience at Fresno State was pretty good, man. Like I said, I've had excellent teammates. I played with, I came in the same recruiting class as David Carr. He was a first overall pick for the Houston Texans in 2002. Derek Ward played running back with the Giants. Michael Pittman, I was there. My freshman year was his senior year, and he's an amazing athlete and an amazing guy. We all looked up to Mike. Billy Volick, he backed up Steve McNair. Like, he was there when I was there in Tennessee as well, and he finished up in San Diego. So it's just a lot of great guys. Bernard Berrien, Alan Harper, Orlando Huff. There's a lot of great guys that I played with. And being in Pat Hill's program was definitely a treat. He was a he got the Fu Manchu. He anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. He was real hard-nosed, and he understood what Bulldog football was about, and the mantra was it, like the way he recruited and selected players. We all fit the mantra, you know what I mean? You come to Oakland, you got some inner city guys from Oakland. You go down to Bakersfield, get guys like Rodney Wright and David Carr. You go down to LA, you get guys like Derek Ward. And then you find a diamond in a little ass town out here with Bernard Berrien, and he continued to use his ability to recruit real good players. He wanted tough guys. He wanted guys that were hardworking, blue collar guys that were going fight to the from the start to finish. And that those 4 years were some of the best times of my life, man. You got to build lifelong relationships. Vernon Fox is one of my best friends. He played about 8 years in the league, and he's from Las Vegas. It was a brotherhood like no other, man. And it was a great time. And to this day, we still stay in contact. We do alumni events down in Fresno. One of our teammates had got diagnosed with cancer. We banded together, raised money for that situation that he had to get taken care of at Stanford. It's just, we created another scholarship program for former athletes that hadn't received their degree yet due to whatever unforeseen circumstances, or for the athletes that went on and had a pro career that just never finished. So It's called Unfinished Business, a Bulldog scholarship program. We put that together. It's just so edifying to the soul to say, man, I spent 4 years in this program and I built relationships and friendships that are lifelong lasting relationships. So yeah, it was a great experience.
So after college, you had a brief stint with the Tennessee Titans in 2001, but you tore your labrum in a preseason game. You ended up missing 2 years of football. How difficult was it for you to overcome that kind of injury?
That injury was pretty much tough. I had nerve damage. I had tore my labrum. I tore my rotator cuff. It was a lot of damage. It happened in a preseason game. And more so mentally, because I made that team and as a free agent, like a priority free agent. We had Drew Bennett came in with me. He was a priority free agent. He ended up getting a couple of big deals up there. Our free agent class, one of the veterans joked, Blaine Bishop joked one day, like, man, damn, our free agent guy's better than our draft class.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans did an excellent job that year of bringing in the guys, priority free agents that weren't drafted. I thought I was going to get drafted. I had fielded calls from a few teams Friday and Saturday, but it just never materialized. But that was a great situation for me. I was the only free agent corner they brought in. They drafted another one, who played in my conference, which was Andre Dyson at Utah. It was an excellent experience for me because, I felt like I should have got drafted. I felt like I had that ability, and I got to respect my teammates and, Keith Bullock, Jerron Curse, Samari Rowe, etc. It was a real good time being around those guys and learning, and Blaine Bishop, and learning how to play ball as a pro. I did learn that. After I got hurt and I sat on injury reserve that year, was just kind of deflating because it's, the NFL, what a lot of people don't understand is, you out there practicing, showing well, competing well, making plays, you play well in the preseason, they're talking to you. They recognize you. Once you get hurt, man, and you're not a first, second, third round draft pick and there's no real big money invested in you, you become a ghost. They'll walk right by you. Wow. So that from a business aspect, that to a 21-year-old kid, man, that was tough for me, and that's when I knew, hey man, this is a business, and you're gonna have to have thick skin and understand, it's not personal, it's just business. So that was my, introduction into the ugly side of professional sports, I would say.
Wow, that's pretty crazy to think. Yeah, I mean, if you're a star player and like you said, you're making big plays on the field, all of a sudden you get hurt, and they're coaches, GMs, or whomever walking right by you like you don't exist. I mean, that's got to hurt the ego a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, you feel slighted, and you're a little upset, and you're you're going through a bunch of different emotions because you're like, man, I bust my ass to get to this point, and now it's just all for naught. But and then you pray about it, and you have these little conversations with yourself, and God, why did you let this happen? Type stuff. It's my dream. It's this. It's that. But it worked out. I'm a very strong individual, and I was able to persevere through almost 3 years of no football, because that happened in preseason of 2001. I didn't play again until 2004 up in BC. So
Yeah.
I missed the whole regular season of 01. I missed the whole regular season 02 and the whole regular season 03. So for me to be able to have the mental fortitude and the ability to drive and the passion to fight through that first year of just getting my shoulder back to being functional, and then the next 2 years to get my mind and my body back in the best shape of my life, that was tough. But I did it. I pushed through, and it's a great story. I was able to put together, some may say, a Hall of Fame career in the CFL. So
yeah, oh yeah.
I don't have any regrets. I also had opportunities to go back to the NFL. So that kind of justified kind of in my mind, I know the type of athlete that I am. Others know. So I didn't really, the CFL was great for me. After my second year up there, I signed with the Kansas City Chiefs when Herman Edwards got the job. And I was a Kansas City Chief for 5 days. But it's at that point and at that stage of my life at 26, hey man, this could be it. So financially it has to make sense. They were adamant about signing me after that workout, sign me, but the contingency was no signing bonus. So I sat there for 5 days, flying back home to Oakland and kind of going over in my mind, no signing. Lola, stop. So I decided to come back up to Canada and squash the NFL stuff at that point, and it worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Win my first Grey Cup, and things started to get to rolling in terms of what we were able to put together in BC.
Right. So your yard right now, your background sounds like my house normally on a good day with the dogs. Well, my cat usually gets out of hand too, and she's walking all over the place. But
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into your career with the Lions here. So as you said, you signed with the BC Lions in 2004. How much did you know about the CFL before you signed?
The only thing that I knew about the Canadian Football League, Lola, stop. The only thing that I knew about the Canadian Football League at that point was Rocket Ismail, obviously, with Toronto, and him spurning the NFL to get that money.
Yeah.
I knew about Jeff Garcia, obviously being a Bay Area guy, being from Oakland. You've seen the success he had in San Francisco to that point. I knew Doug Flutie bounced around. He was like a marvel. Everybody knows about Doug Flutie. But I didn't really know the, in depth about the Canadian Football League. And me being slightly ignorant to geography, I didn't, I'm thinking Eskimos and it's cold up there and all that stuff. And I didn't know too much. So I never gave it any thought or attention. The time that I was out of the National Football League, I felt as if I was of that caliber. So I didn't do the arena thing, or I didn't even consider another league at that point. For one, I really wasn't aware of the history and who all played up in the Canadian Football League. Did a little research. Oh yes, Warren Moon, the 5 Grey Cups back then with the stigma with black quarterbacks, that makes sense. But I'm like, Canada, I just never, I never put any thought into it. So once that subject about the CFL came up, I started doing my research, and I was like, oh wow, Damon Allen, that's Marcus Allen's younger brother. Oh wow, it's a lot of guys up here. And then you see a lot of names, NFL names, and you're like, oh. So, Jerron Bolden, who is in BC, played for the Raiders, played at San Jose State. The name is missing me right now.
I'm thinking.
Fernandez.
Right.
Yep. So there were so many guys that I started to recognize. And hold on one second.
Yep.
So there were so many guys that I was like, oh wow, this is a pretty good league. So anyway, one of my good friends that I went to high school with, I had been training with Thomas Witherspoon and Kenny Harrison. Kenny Harrison won a gold medal in the triple jump in the '96 Olympic Games. Okay. They were trainers in the Bay Area. So I was training with a lot of the younger guys getting drafted. Sammy Parker out of Oregon, Lamont Thompson, who was we were in high school at the same time. Marcus Trufant, Kyle Bowler. There was so many. Eric Coleman and Charles Woodson, first stint with the Raiders. He was training there too. And Kevin Barlow played for the 49ers. So I'm training with these guys for about 3 months, and it's just like Kevin Barlow's like, "Yo, D, you ain't on the team?" Nah, man, I'm out, man. I've been out for a year or so. And he's like, "Nah, dog, you need to be on the team, man. You fast, man. Because he's working out with me every day." And he's like, I don't understand. So he was like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna talk to the guys at in Santa Clara and see, man, they need to bring you in for a workout." So the 49ers bring me in for a workout. I do very well in the workout, but they don't sign me. You know, the NFL thing is weird. They put you on short lists or whatever, and you kind of just in limbo. So anyway, had a very good workout. That was documented. And then one of my good friends I went to high school with, he's, was trying to be an agent, if you will, getting into the business. So he had a contact with Bob Obilovich. So he calls me one night and like, "Yo, D, come on, man. We got to go to San Francisco and meet with this guy." I'm like, "Man, I ain't going to San. I'm not meeting with nobody." He's like, "I'm telling you, get dressed. I'm coming to get you." So he's like, "Get your highlight film and all that stuff." So this is when they still were doing the East-West Shrine game. They moved it from Stanford to Pac-Bell Park. So we go over to San Francisco. He comes and picks me up, and he's kind of giving me the spiel on the way over there. And he's like, "Yeah, this guy in the CFL, he's like a GM. He was a coach. He's real good talent guy, for scouting players. And when he could get this to be an opportunity." So we get over there. We have dinner with Bob, and people, for those that know, like, hey, you talking. So we have dinner. I give them my highlight film, and it has all my college stuff on there, and it has preseason stuff with the Titans. And we shoot the shit for about an hour and a half, and handshake. That's that. So about a month later, I get the FedEx the contract, and it's sitting on my kitchen table for about a month. I hadn't signed it because I'm so I had a Buffalo Bills workout. I was talking to Jacksonville. I'm trying to materialize things with the NFL, obviously. And my wife at the time was like, "Yo, you need to be playing football. 24 years old now." And it's like, that's your pet. That you got to do it because it's still in you. You can still do it. So I'm like, yeah. She's like, "Well, look, just go ahead and sign that contract. Just do it." So I signed the contract, sent it back, and the contingency with that was we need to see you work out in April or May. It was at a Santa Monica Junior College in SoCal. So crazy story. I the day before the workout, we go to San Jose, pick up my son's godmother, and we jump in the car and we drive from San Jose, from the Bay Area to Long Beach. It's like 6 hours or so.
Yeah. So
prior to that, I stopped at a Jack in the Box. I get a chicken sandwich, and I get a piece of cheesecake and a salad. So I eat the salad, and then I eat the cheesecake, and then the sandwich, I'm like, I'm not hungry. I'll eat it later. So we get to Long Beach. Mind you, this is a 5-6 hour drive. Get to Long Beach. My wife and her friends go out, whatever. I'm like getting prepared. I got bands. I'm stretching. I'm like, I got 40 tomorrow. So I take the chicken sandwich and I take the chicken out of the bun and stuff, and I put it in the microwave and I put it back in there and I eat it. Within an hour, I'm like urinating out of my butt.
I knew you were going to say that.
I got poisoning.
Yeah.
Over the next few hours, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, God, oh my God, why is this happening? This is my opportunity. And yeah, it's so needless to say, I was having some issues. So I'm that night it got worse, bubble guts, everything. I'm not feeling well. So the next morning we get up around 6, we drive to Santa Monica. There's a Foster Freeze right up the street. I don't use public bathrooms if I got to do a number 2.
Me neither, man. I'm with you on that. Save that for at home.
I went to that Foster Freeze about 5 times before that workout because it was out of my control.
Yeah.
So I have food poisoning and we have to do this workout. So about 100 plus guys show up. 9 o'clock, we get registered and all that stuff. And, you know, they warm us up. It's on natural grass. This is back in 2004. So not too many people had the field turf. So it's on natural grass. And then it starts drizzling. I cannot make this up. And I'm just like, man, this is just going to be a terrible ass workout. Oh, well, I'm done, whatever. So anyway, we get warmed up real good. Then they change the format. Okay, the big guy's going to work out first. Man, it's just like kind of drizzling out here. It's not the best of conditions. And we got to sit here and watch these linemen and stuff work out. So anyway, they get done. I warm up again. I go do the 40-yard dash. I think I ran a 4.38 or a 4.43. It was pretty fast. It was in that range. And I ran well. Then we did some change of direction drills, cone drills. I did those pretty well. That's my bread and butter. And then they bring everybody up for people who don't know what the CFL workouts that they conduct in the States. Some will say it's a money grab because they're charging guys $100 per. And when I lived in Atlanta, me and Corey Banks would help BC do a camp, and we would help with it, and it'd be about 200 guys out there. So it's
a decent amount of money, right?
Very decent amount of money. So
yeah,
I already had a contract, so I didn't have to pay a registration fee or anything like that. But my contract was pretty much based on, okay, we know who you are, we got your film, we know of you from college, and we know you was with the Titans, and we had an injury, so we are giving you this contract based on. Now, if that workout don't match up, you out of shape and you just look terrible, they'll rip the contract up. It's null and void.
Yeah.
So they bring us all up, send a lot of guys home, and just keep maybe a group of 20. And we did one-on-ones. My first one-on-one, I believe, was an interception. The next one-on-one was a pass breakup. And then Bob was like, "Hey, Dante, back up a little bit." And they told the receiver to back up and run at me. I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't really know about the waggle. I didn't know any of that stuff. But I did well. So bring us up after that, and I'm like, "So what's next?" And he's like, "Well, see you at training camp." And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a crazy trip and a crazy workout.
Man, I'm telling you, I can write a book about that whole situation, man. It's just, that's what it was. And it's I'm not embellishing the story. This is true fact story.
Yeah.
I don't know how I was able to perform well like that, but the Most High, has the final say, and it worked out well for me. I have no regrets because it went the way the story played out the way it was supposed to play out.
Yeah.
You're talking about if I go ahead and stay in Kansas City after 04 and 05, after my 2 years in Canada, yes, I think I would have played. Herman Edwards gave a lot of people opportunities. I think I would have been, one of the, they signed an older Ty Law for about $10 million that year. I mean, I would have played, but how long?
Yeah.
They just won a Super Bowl last year.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yes, the initial money in the front end could have been, is you're talking about making 120, which is some pretty good coin in Canada. That's 3 years of worth of CFL salary. You get 1 year with an NFL salary. So yeah, that can really affect your decision. But in the grand scheme of things, I got 2 Grey Cup rings.
Yeah.
Household name. I've got nominated for the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. I had an 11-year career. in the CFL, and we all
Yeah.
know how those things go in the
Yeah.
National Football League. That's what it stands for, not for long. So
Yeah.
you never know. So
No.
I think I could have played that 11 years in the NFL. Me personally, but you just never know. So I think the decision I made worked out very well. It's no negative to it. So I'm okay with with the decision I made. It worked out well, and I'm happy. And then I got to spend that whole time on the West Coast in a beautiful city, playing in a dome.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like was when it got to October and we're in Surrey and we outside in the rain practicing.
It rains a lot in BC, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had conversations with other BC Lions players too. They're not quite sure why they practice way out in Surrey, but I mean that,
In Surrey was cool. I know people in Canada, they frown upon Surrey. It's the ghetto.
Yes, sir.
Oakland, California, man, that Surrey was nice. They didn't bother you. You have some drug addicts. You have some a few of the homeless people. Like it was cool, man. And people, one thing I would say about Canada, I enjoyed every minute of it. They loved us. Like
Yeah.
today, I get messages on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. People, I was at a pub. There's a Marsh jersey on the wall. And it's it's surreal at times because you're talking about I'm just Dante from Oakland, California as a kid, and then my own upper deck card. People talking about a Hall of Fame and won championships, and your name is engraved on a trophy that's over 100 years old. Not once, but twice. Yeah. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure it is. That's kept you humble too, obviously, right?
I mean, I feel like I'm a humble dude. Some people mistake my passion and my confidence for arrogance, but I'm just a very confident individual, and I'm passionate about everything that I do. So if you don't really know me, you would probably mistake that for being arrogant. But I'm the coolest dude out, man. I love what I do. I love pouring into other people. I love trying to develop these. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. I train. I do speaking engagements. My passion comes through to so many people that I can impart whatever wisdom and knowledge that I have, that I've gained along my journey, that can somehow help them. If I'm giving them this information that I have at 41 and they're getting it at 12, 13, 14, 15 and up, they should be much better. Their journey should be more grander, if you will, than mine was. And that's the whole mission, is to give these people an opportunity to get to experience all the great things that the game of football has allowed me to experience.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too far off of my script here when I say this, but I've talked with some other players as well about this. I think it was Baseko Lakombo. It's almost like the CFL players come from a different breed. They're so approachable. They answer messages. They're willing to share their stories. Like yourself right now. I mean, I messaged you. I said, "Hey, Dante, are you willing to do an interview with me?" You said, "Yeah, of course, man." And it goes from there. I mean, do they engrave this in you in the CFL, or does it just come with the territory?
I don't know. I feel like even if I'd have spent my whole entire career in the NFL, I still would be who I am. I mean, if you're an asshole and you're poor asshole. And you're poor and then you come into a large amount of money, you're gonna be a wealthier asshole. Yeah. I don't feel as though, and once again I attribute that to where I'm from and where I grew up. Just real people. Like I don't care nothing about that. Marshawn has over $50 million. He didn't spend really none of his earnings that he made from the NFL. I think he might have one expensive car.
Right.
He still look like, he's average normal people. Marcus Peters, same thing. I was just with him a few weeks ago in West Oakland. No big deal. Like it's not, everybody's not on the starstruck, I gotta be a celebrity with security type. That's not the thing. Mm-hmm. Being from Oakland, you a down to earth dude, man. We're normal.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm an athlete. I make some money. Gary Payton's that way.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with his nephews. We went to school together, and his younger brother, Brandon. You know,
Wow.
we do basketball together. So, normal dude. You know, he just happened to be a basketball star.
A gifted athlete.
Racing kid. We got so many here, like Ricky Henderson. The list goes on, man.
Ricky, yeah.
It's so many people, but I think we're different in the fact that we're not on a J.R. Ryder. I mean, it's a long list, like just normal dudes. Like we just cool like that. So I don't think it would have, you know, the one thing I will say, the CFL is it's a gift and a curse because it's a real intimate setting in terms of fan base interaction with the athletes. The only thing that I didn't like about the CFL is that they market the league more so than the player. It's a player-driven league, and they keep trying to sell and promote the league. Nobody's coming to watch the league. They're coming to watch players. They're coming to identify with players. I think the reason the CFL steers clear of trying to promote the players the same way the NFL or the NBA or the MLB does is the fact that now they got to pay them.
Right.
And when it's time, when those players realize their value and it's time to cut the check in the CFL, they can discard the player because they think that they can replace each and every player so easily.
Yeah.
Especially the American guys. And I say this with so much humility. Like this is the honest God truth. They don't make Dante Marshes on every corner in America.
No.
If that was the case, I wouldn't have played 11 years up there. So started 11 years, one team. If you could find me that easily, and I played for probably the most shrewdest GM in CFL history.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation a week and a half ago with Wally. So, I mean, he wasn't paying me for 11 straight years because he liked me.
No.
You know, he paid me because I delivered a service.
You balled out. You played ball. You played football. You produced on the field. He's paying you.
Yeah. So, and that's what people don't understand. So, I think there's a situation where that league needs to have a reflection and get some different guys in the building that run the business, man. That model is so old and outdated. Market the players. Create a situation where the CFLPA actually pays the players. My 1 year in the NFL, after the season, I got a royalty check for $6,500.
Wow.
From the NFLPA Players Association, because if they can use your likeness for video games and that, I mean, take care of the players. Then you have guys. I made some pretty good money. I made over $1 million in Canada. I don't have it now.
Nope. Yeah, but you made it though. Yeah.
But my point is, you need to, if a guy performs a service for you in a professional football league, because let's keep it real, the CFL is not a second-rate BS league. I mean, it's the NFL or the CFL. Take your pick.
Yeah.
So there's no other league even in the conversation. So if that's the case, you need to step your game up, and you need to make sure these players are taken care of. I personally feel like I can do other things than football. I have a master's degree. I got a bachelor's. I'm okay. I'm not saying every athlete, they don't have the ability.
Right.
They can't. It's hard for their transition from the game. Everything that they are
was football.
Revolves around football.
Right.
And I mean, mine still does to an extent. I'm a defensive coordinator at a junior college. I'm an adjunct professor. I work at the high school as well. I train athletes. Football has helped my life. Like my transition from the game to other things in life, it wasn't like I'm going through depression, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But it was based on the relationships in my resume, and everything that I accomplished in football allowed my chapter 2 to become a little more seamless, if you will.
Gotcha.
So, I just feel like if you give somebody 5 to 10 years or a decade of your life of service, and I want people to follow me when I say this, and don't take it the wrong way. When you play professional football, you are damn near in the same situation as a soldier.
Okay.
Watch the correlation. Like people try to dismiss it. Well, you can die on the football field.
Yes.
You can break your neck on the football field.
Yeah.
You can lose a limb on the football field.
Yes, sir.
There can be some lifelong injuries. Look at my man Hefney, Jonathan Hefney.
Yeah.
You know, your life could be altered
forever
tremendously from that football field. So
Yeah.
if we're talking about, and then let's not even talk about the whole concussion thing, which within the last 10, 15 years, that's become an issue.
More so when you played, it wasn't. Nobody gave a shit, right? Not to get off your story, but I'm just saying.
Right. But my whole point is, if I'm out here risking my life, like really, I'm risking it. I mean, there has to be something in place down the line to where those players, if you're an elite level person and you made it to that elite 1 to 3%, hey, they got to take care of that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. You know, if you were good enough, because let's just face it, that's reality. Everybody in the world competes for something and have dreams and aspirations. And if you're blessed and fortunate enough and you bust your ass to do that, then it's just like being a cop. Cops have excellent pensions. They put their life on the line every day.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So, you know, I just feel like, especially the American players in the CFL, you're kind of like, once you're done, you're kind of forgot about, and it's just like the CFL I think they need to hold their players in higher regard. And I think that's why some look at the league like, whatever, because it's, you know, it's not that way. And we're so accessible, I think that's a gift. Like I said, it's a gift and a curse. With the NFL guy, when I was in the NFL, man, we had a guy dressed in a suit. If we went out to the club or whatever, he would kind of, you know, make sure nothing happened. And then you kind of were like put on a pedestal, and you're kind of like, I don't want to say untouchable, but you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, you see me on the Sky Train in Vancouver because I chose not to keep shipping my car up there. Average person, they don't look at you the same way because I'm not driving my car to the game. Do you know what I mean? So I think you definitely have to create a situation through the CFLPA to allow the players to monetize apparel, merchandise. You have to give them the ability to market themselves within the confines of the league and to benefit not only on the field but off the field as well.
Right.
I created a website, you know, in 08, 09, DanteMarsh.com, and I got tired of people coming to Surrey shoving stuff in my face every day, the same person. Yeah. Now, you want me to sign this? I have no problem. I'll do anything for kids. Everybody know that. But you're a grown-ass person, and you come to my place of work every single day. Sign it. Here's it. Why don't you go get an 8x10 off my website for $10? I'll be more than gladly happy to sign it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So that was the thing. Like, I got goo gobs of, you know, cards, playing cards, pictures. Hey man, I will sign it. Pay me for it. Because if I was where I was prior to coming to BC, you would pay me for it.
That's right.
So, you know, I think and I want people to understand, man. I think the CFL can be so big, man. So big. I'm not a marketing major, but I'm very good at marketing.
Well, see, the thing is too. I mean, if you're not getting paid for it in the NFL, you're getting NFLPA's giving you money for it, right? Well, they're handing you a check.
That's their union. So like I said, at the end of the season, I was on injury reserve. I didn't play in the regular season. I got a $6,500 royalty check.
Right. Yeah.
That's part of the deal.
And no disrespect, but you probably didn't sell any jerseys.
No, I didn't sell any jerseys.
Right. Exactly. I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
So all those jerseys on the racks that they're selling for in the CFL, you get nothing.
I went to the Guilford Mall one day, and this blew my mind. This is around 06. You know, we were hot. Like, and no disrespect, we should have won a lot more than 2 Grey Cups.
Yeah.
But we should have at least won 4 at minimum. I went to Guilford Mall one day, man, and I forget if it's a Sport Check. It's one of those stores on the downstairs level. And I see in the window, black and orange, I see a 31.
That's my jersey.
You know the name on there. I'm like, what? Oh, I'm taking pictures of it because I'm so. It was surreal, man. It was like, damn, that's dope. But I didn't get a dime for that. I've seen plenty of Marsh jerseys at BC Place. I had a whole section, Marsh Island. I had
Yes, sir.
real cool fans, like
Yeah.
people, man. I didn't get a dime from that.
Wow. So you think so you're in that sport check and you're looking at your jersey with your name on the back, it's your number.
Mm-hmm.
You would have had to buy that jersey to get one, and then you're not getting a damn thing for it for buying your own jersey. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. That's
Right.
crazy.
I mean, but see, people don't know this though. And people are so naive to the fact of what's really going on. They think athletes are spoiled assholes. Like, no, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Mind you, even when you look at the NFL scale, pay scale, there's a very small percentage that's making that big ass money. Patrick Mahomes is in such a small percentage. Most of the league is making roughly, $600,000 to $800,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that's not peanuts. I'm not saying, like that's $5, but it pales in comparison. Like they get duped. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times those big ass numbers that you see that are being reported, they'll never see that money. Not in football, they'll never see it. Because the way they used to do contracts, the things would be so backloaded. For example, when the Raiders signed Bill Romanowski, I think he was 34 at the time.
Yeah.
They signed him to like a 7-year deal. He's not playing till he's 41.
41. Yeah.
Oh, you might get $7 to $8 million up front as a signing. And you'll get a decent signing bonus, but most of that money gonna be pushed to year 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're never gonna see 3, 4, 5, and 6. You'll play the first 2 and maybe make $18 million of the 40-something million they had, on the table for you, and everything else is backloaded. You never gonna see that money.
No.
Those are the old contracts. Now with the guarantees and stuff, people, they got it right this time. But, I think the CFL, man, is such a beautiful league. It's a lot of talented people. I had a much better time in the Canadian Football League. I did. I felt as if I was a guy that's an adamant workout guy. At 41, I probably could still play. I never had an issue about being in shape for the season. And we didn't have OTAs and mini camps. They're not paying that money to get us all up here in the spring.
No, they can't afford it. No.
So you had to show up and be ready. And I did that, for 11 consecutive years. So for me, I just feel like that league is missing out on so much. Like, there's a lot of people here that actually like the game. It's fast. It's a little weird in the beginning, but once you get into it, it's really a fun game. And it just doesn't have the respect. I mean, I played 2 years with Cam Wake. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So the talent level is there. I just feel like if you want the league to get that real respect and it be a real alternative to the NFL, because there's a lot of guys who would prefer to play in the CFL. We're talking about late round draft pick guys or guys on the cusp of, okay, I'm on the team, but I'm not starting. Yeah, the money is cool, but I want to play. Mm-hmm. Here's your alternative. That same guy should be making $200,000 or $300,000 in the Canadian Football League.
Right. Instead of not playing in the NFL.
Right, and just collecting a check.
Yeah.
The CFL is a great alternative. I'm telling you, and I think a lot more players would choose that path if the money was right.
Yeah.
And the money can be right. There's money. People are gonna pay. You have to. To me, you have to build it, and they will come. It's just like the NFL. See, I played the game, so I know about the game. So you're talking about the AFL NFL merger back in the 60s. Right? You're talking about a great Al Davis. You're talking about a Lamar Hunt. You're talking about these at Kansas City, the Raiders. Like the AFL were the AFC teams. They were airing the ball out. Don Coryell in San Diego, all that stuff. It was a different brand of football. It wasn't
West Coast offense.
Yeah, it wasn't a 3 yards and clouds of dust, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now when those guys decided to come with the merger, the game, just like the ABA and NBA, same thing. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a merger. Now you're force feeding the market. You're even if a lot of those guys aren't the best ever. Like people think on the NFL roster who've never played the game that everybody's a freak athlete. That's not accurate at all. There's a lot of hard-working athletes that become Hall of Famers. They're not just physically imposing guys. They're not the fastest of speeding bullet guys. These are guys who just work their craft day in and day out, and they become great players.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if the CFL chose to market the individual players, I think the league would be better for it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I mean, I never even thought about this until you brought it up, was that the fact that the CFL markets their game on having bigger balls and bigger fields. Who gives a shit?
Play football.
Right? Exactly. Play football.
Play football.
Maybe you need to talk to, was it Commissioner Ambrosi, and have a conversation and say, hey, look, we need to team up.
I would love to be involved with the CFL in some capacity. I would love to do TSN. I talked to one of my former teammates for 2 years yesterday, David Sanchez.
Yeah.
We had a good conversation, man. It's always good to catch up with those guys. And Milt Stiegel's a real good close friend of mine. He taught me how to be a pro.
Okay.
He lives in Atlanta. So me and Corey Banks had moved to Atlanta for a while and during our playing careers, and we all used to get together and train in the off seasons. So it was me, Otis Floyd, Corey Banks, Terrence Edwards, Milt Stiegel, Byron Parker. We had Darian Durant. We had so many guys. Like we had like a lot of guys lived out in Atlanta. But yeah, anyway, I would love to do TSN. I would love to be a part of the league in some capacity to help it grow. Mm-hmm. I think it's a gold mine, and they're just missing the mark. You know, I mean, no disrespect to wwhoever is in charge of it. I'm just saying this is coming from a guy who played for a long time up there and also who's a U.S. guy. And I can know the temperature of how people view it. And it you know, it's a very respectable game, and it needs to be held in that light. But until you do these things, it's always going to be looked at as a second-rate league. And it's sad. It's very sad considering I played up there for 11 years. There were NFL draft picks that couldn't get off practice squads. Yeah. So it's not the superior athlete thing is thrown out the window. Chad Johnson said that. We had a conversation. He was in Montreal. He was like, man, this is real up here. Yeah. And everybody says that. So in order to get that global respect, you're gonna have to, you know, alter the way you view things and the way you put things together.
And I honestly think, Dante, and this is no disrespect to you or any player or anybody involved with the CFL, but I'm Canadian and I have Canadian friends, and a lot of my friends don't give a shit about the CFL. I'm talking about, I post on my Facebook that I got Dante Marsh coming on my show tomorrow, CFL All-Star, future CFL Hall of Famer. Nobody gives a shit. I'm like the only one that gives a shit, and we're all fucking Canadian. Like what? You know?
That's because people don't care because the NFL, that proves my point. The NFL is king. Yeah. There's a bunch of, I don't want to disrespect my colleagues, but there's a bunch of guys in the league that shouldn't be there. Okay. I mean, when I say that, I mean this in the most respectful way. What I mean is there are guys in the NFL that couldn't play in the CFL. Okay. It happened while I was there. Prime case in point. Prime example. Ricky Williams. I have so much I got so much respect and admiration for Ricky Williams. Please don't talk.
No, that guy can play football, man.
He's a Hall of Fame talent. Yeah. He didn't have the career and the pros that he put together at Texas. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah. Make no mistakes about it. He is every bit of the best, one of the best players I've ever seen or played against. Yeah. But people thought they disrespected the CFL so bad. They said he was Joe Theismann, if I'm not mistaken, said he's gonna run for 5,000. Yeah. He didn't break 500, I don't believe. So and that's because everybody saw an opportunity to tag his ass, because a lot of guys either had an opportunity in the NFL and it didn't work out. They were trying to get back, or those were guys who had chips on their shoulder that never had that opportunity, and they see a guy as heralded as he was. oh, I'm turning my game up today. We playing. You get what I'm saying?
I get
So
what you're saying. Yeah.
that it's marketing. You know, like I
Yeah.
said, if I would have been bringing my car up there, driving around my car all the time, I had a Navigator on rims. I had my Magnum Hemi thing, you know, car on rims, blacked out all. If I would have been doing that, they would view you different. But since you see me on the SkyTrain here and there, and I stay in a condo in Surrey, oh, whatever. That's human nature. That's people do that because of that. But if you promote the game the way it's supposed to be promoted, and you pay the players as such, it's gonna take off. You get to 12 teams probably.
Yeah.
It's there, the infrastructure is there. It's just, I look at it like this: baseball was America's pastime.
Yep.
Nobody gives a shit about baseball like that here.
No.
This is an NFL culture here in the state. Like,
if not NFL, then college football, right?
Absolutely.
Football. Yeah.
Back 110 people, 110,000.
110,000 people in a fucking football stadium. Dude, that's insane.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Auburn. Like, come on, man. So you can't tell me that it's not a thirst for that. It's controlled violence. It's a modern day gladiator sport. People want to see that, and it's just the most exciting game that you could ever, you know, compete in my opinion. So, and I think the Canadian people are kind of afraid to step on hockey's toes. I think that's what that is.
Yeah.
But whatever, the NFL didn't care about the MLB. Hey man, we marketing this. This is the biggest, baddest thing on earth.
Yeah.
You gotta come see it.
Yeah.
You know, when I was growing up, you didn't have NFL Network. We were starving for football.
Mm-hmm.
You had a whole 6-7 months without football. Now, you got NFL Network, NFL Films, everything is just.
You got YouTube?
YouTube is 24/7 football. So
yeah,
there's definitely a market for the CFL to take advantage of. I mean, the XFL, had this pandemic not happened, the XFL was going to get some good traction.
Yes, they were.
I almost had an opportunity to be coaching in the XFL. So I think another professional football league would definitely be good, and it'll work if it's done right, because there's so many good players that aren't getting the opportunities in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a CFL guy, I need to understand that, and I need to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say one more thing, and some people may not agree with me. I think
it's all good, man.
Take the ratio out.
With the American players?
No. Lola, stop. Take the ratio out in the CFL. Who the best play.
Yeah.
That's it. Because now the quality of the game is better. We know it's the CFL, but that shouldn't matter. It's just played in Canada. Most of the guys that come up there and are stars are American players.
Well, they don't have ratios in any other league.
No.
It's a Canadian thing. I mean, our government protects us in the fact that if we're watching American TV, they take out the American commercials and throw in Canadian commercials. Yeah. It's almost like the same kind of mentality, but for some stupid ass reason, they feel that they have to protect the game. But why? Like you said, let the best players play. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a negative. Like, I played with some Canadian. David Sanchez, regardless of his passport, he could play the game.
Right.
He has a Canadian passport. Jason Claremont, he's Canadian. He could play the game. Mm-hmm. Canadian passport. Brent Johnson. These are some of the guys I play with and respect, man. I wouldn't give a shit if they were from Mars. If you can play. So I say let the best play. Take the ratio out, and you gotta figure out a way. And I think there are a lot more American players that would actually consider living up there if every organization did for their players the way some other organizations treat their players. Let me say that.
Yeah.
I just feel like some organizations do more for their guys than others in terms of, giving them opportunities. Okay, you played a long time for me. There's opportunities in the community. Mm-hmm. There's opportunities within the organization, whether it's coaching, whether it's scouting, whether it's, admin. if that's what you want to do. I think a lot more players would consider staying up there, but it's kind of like in the CFL. Once you're done, you know, a lot of guys go back home because there really is no opportunity for them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a bunch of things that I think could be done better, and that will serve not only the country of Canada, but it'll serve, because a lot of people I loved it. Like I even thought, with all this crazy shit going on here, I'm like, man, I might get back up to Vancouver.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, trust me, there's a lot of us guys here that love Canada. It's just, you know, certain things could be done, I think, better. I mean, and that's across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great league. I think it has the potential to do much bigger things. You know, you gotta, you know, the money will be there. I mean, this is just my thought. If you create the infrastructure, which it has staying power, it's over 100 years old. You need to be more interactive. I think the Hall of Fame stuff needs to be more of a spectacle. You know, people need to know about that stuff. You need to just follow your brother's lead, man. They doing it here. They do it in Canton, Ohio. I mean, they make a big deal out of this shit here. And if you do that, people will catch on, because it's scientifically proven. If you see something 10 or more times, you're hooked.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing too. I mean, we're talking about the CFL and promoting the CFL. You look at the BC Lions, man, and you look like they're like 18,000 fans. They got the top seats, you know, blocked off. I mean, what's going on? You know, I don't know if they need to market to a younger generation, or they got to put some ass in seats.
I'm gonna say this: being a West Coast guy, Vancouver is just like the LA of Canada. It's right up the street. I'm gonna say this: that's just a West Coast thing, because when the San Francisco 49ers, when I was growing up throughout the 80s, everybody was at Candlestick. That was a hot ticket, you know. Talking about the great Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Steve Young, Brent Jones, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, Ronnie Lott, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right?
Yeah.
When you win, people in California are fickle because there's so much to do. Right. If I can go to the beach on Sunday, go to the beach. I can go to a club. There are so many things to do on the West Coast because of the weather, especially in those, you know, when you're speaking about the great Northwest, Seattle, Washington, Vancouver, BC, you're talking about the summers are California summers. It's pretty warm.
Sure. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Why would I go spend my hard-earned money on a football game when the product isn't adequate? Yeah. So, and that's not a shot at my former employer. That's just honest to God real. Because most of the years I was up there, BC Place was rocking.
Yes, sir.
But we were winning. And once again, you identify with players. G. Roy, Dave Dickinson, Casey Printers had a couple real good seasons. Yeah. Ryan Thelwells, the Jason Claremonts, the
Ryan Phillips,
myself, Ryan, Corey, Barry.
Yeah.
Carl Kidd, Otis Floyd, Solomon, Biggie, like Tyrone Williams, the list, Chris, you had, who else? Even before me, you had Eric Carter, you had all these different guys, Kelvin Anderson, you had so many guys. So it's easier to get people interested when they identify with these players. Most of the guys on BC roster, because I haven't kept up so much because I'm coaching and I'm doing my thing here.
Busy, yeah.
I don't really, even the game, I don't really know who's who really no more. I mean, a lot of, you know, Delvin Bro, I keep in contact with him, but a lot of guys were saying that the quality went down. You know, so I don't really know. I think when you build a product and people fall in love with the product, but especially I think especially when you have players that have been in one place for a long time, if you will, 4 years or more. These people identify with the players, man. They want to see the players.
Yeah.
So when those players start, it's a revolving door. They're in and out. People lose touch with it.
1-year contracts, in and out, like you said, right?
Yeah, you can't. You're not going to be successful when you have a revolving door.
No.
And Wally had enough patience with myself, because my first few games, my first year were tough. Like me and Sam Young, but he knew. He said that people didn't know what they're talking about. I knew better. I mean, that's why he is who he is. So you can't, with me and Corey, we played together for 10 years. So in that boundary, there were times I didn't even have to say nothing to Corey. We were on a mental telepathy type thing. Plus, we hung out outside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Atlanta. He lived in Atlanta. We did family events together. We hung out together. That was like my brother. So when it came time to perform, it was just effortless almost in terms of I see what he sees what I see. So we were very cohesive. And when you have a revolving door, it's hard to maintain that consistency and get that quality day in and day out. And I think the CFL, I would say in my opinion, at times they do a poor job of the revolving door thing. And because I think it's an old thought process of, well, I can find any one of those guys on any street corner in America, but you can't. So I don't know. I feel like you got to get the right people in the right places, and they really got to push and advocate for the game. And I definitely think it could be bigger.
Yeah. Just on that note too, just a shout out to my buddy, Robbie Smith. We're lifelong friends. I've known the kid we met in elementary school, grade 2, but it was that mentality of, so we played hockey. We played just ball hockey, hockey growing up, street hockey, but it was the same thing. I could close my eyes and play hockey with this kid. And I knew where he was going to be on the field at every moment of every time. We just saw the game the same way. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It was really crazy. Dante, I just want to say, so we're about halfway through the show that I had written. And this has been an amazing conversation. And I knew this was going to go where it is right now with you. I just had this draw to you. I said, I got to get Dante on the show. I know it's going to be good, and it's been really good, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. We got the whole quarantine thing, and it's allowed for us to get down with the technical side of things. You're allotted more time, and you can do more time, especially with the IG live stuff, the podcast, the Zoom meetings have went up exponentially. I wish I would have got some Zoom stock when this first.
Me too, man.
But no, I appreciate it, and more of these type things need to happen. I think a lot of times, when you're, especially if you're an athlete or a celebrity, or you're in the public eye, when you're out of sight, out of mind type deal. And people need to, they need to know what you got going on in chapter 2 of life. And I'm happy. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm being successful, and still taking that same mentality and that passion and drive towards, the second part of my life. So yeah, I definitely love doing the podcast and the meetings, and we did the I had myself, Travis, who else? Karan, E.T. Had some guys on. We was doing the podcast thing
last week.
The 2011 Grey Cup. That was pretty cool.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, you enjoyed that, hey?
Yeah, it was cool. Like I said, you go to war with these guys. You're in the locker room with these guys, and especially for us American guys, we're away from home. So throughout, when you're up there, that becomes your second home, and the guys on your team are like your family members. So you develop a tight-knit relationship with one another. And like I said, some of the things that I miss the most is just the bus rides, man. From the airport and the hotels, the airplane flights, the different cities, it's so many stories. There's so much fun stuff going on, man. And just the locker room, the environment. I played till I was 35. So I was like a 35-year-old kid. Like, You just, like the old Toys R Us theme song. I don't want to grow up. I'm a
I got you. Yeah.
somebody to compensate you for doing something you love, to play a kid's game and get, some would say a king's ransom. It's just, it's a phenomenal feeling, man. It's a great thing. And, that's what you miss the most when you're done playing, are those little moments. It's not so much. A lot of people think, you play for a long time and you miss the game, you miss playing. Yeah, because but I can still play. So I feel like I can still play. So I'm very active and I'm working out and stuff. So I just want to smoke a cigar. I don't want to play any more football. I'm okay with looking like I can play football still, but no. Getting into coaching and mentoring and just like I said before, passing that knowledge and wisdom on and still being a part of the game is what still drives me. I still get good on game day as a coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, potentially you're passing on, your wisdom and what you saw, the bright lights and stuff into somebody else, and you're mentoring somebody else. And that's huge to be able to pass that on. I mean, that must make you feel really good inside.
Absolutely. Because, people, I'm 41, so I grew up in that era, still old school era, where you listen. I thought I knew every damn thing as a young guy, but I still listen. We're dealing with these young guys now, especially at the high school age, even in middle school. These kids are different, man. They know everything, and they don't want to listen.
Right.
They will not listen.
And I've noticed a lack of work ethic, big time.
Of course, because why? Everything is a microwave now. Mm-hmm. Everything is instant gratification. They think they have arrived. Like, I had an argument with one of my young men that I trained. Oh, man, the kid that caught that one-hand catch on Tyreek Hill, he's about to get a scholarship. I said he shouldn't. Now, if he's that good at his high school, yeah, because he looks like he's an athlete, he's a baller. But what my whole point was, one play should not solidify all these scholarship offers. But that's the mindset of the young people now, and that's just the world we live in. He was doing a camp. Tyreek Hill is not a DB. He's a elite world-class wide receiver. He's not a cover guy. So even with that kid making that once in 1,000 catch on him, what does that mean?
Yeah. So it's like they're trying to build a lifetime on 5% worth of work.
Less than 5. This was one play.
Yeah, exactly. Less than 5
at a camp. So yeah, that's just kind of the mentality of the young people, and that's another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I got a mantra. I put it on the back of shirts. I got a saying, a phrase, a quote, if you will. How can they beat you if they can't outwork you? Right. And I live by that. That doesn't just pertain to a sport, but it's across the board in life. If you're a garbage man, you want to be the best at what you do. If you're a lawyer, a doctor, a school teacher, a mechanic, at the end of the day, if I've done everything that I can within my human power, I can look in the mirror and I can be okay with the outcome, because the thing will get you to the thing. And we're using football as just a great catalyst or a vehicle to navigate you through life, to, I don't want to say obtain things, but to get things that you desire or want or need. For me, football was a great tool for me. I got a bachelor's degree. I got a master's degree. I got to go to a Division I school, athletic school, a university. I got to go through the whole 4 years of college. I got to have that experience. I got to go to the NFL and get that experience. I was able to purchase a couple houses. You buy things come and go. You can always get things, but the relationships are the most critical, or I think the most important things out of the things that I've acquired throughout my journey. And that's what I'm preaching is, the money, you can wake up tomorrow and be a millionaire, like literally, if that's God's will, that's what's going to happen. And the money is great and all that stuff, but that can't be your sole motivation.
No.
And I think the love, I think for me personally, because I would tell anybody this to this day, if my Oakland Raiders, because let's get this straight, they will always be the Oakland Raiders. I don't care if they're playing on Pluto, they're gonna be the
Okay, Oakland Raiders, yep.
If the Raiders would have asked me or wanted to sign me, I would be so happy just playing special teams.
Playing for $5.
No,
You're an Oakland Raider.
yeah, because I would spend probably half of my game check just buying as many people from the neighborhood tickets to go to the Black Hole, because people don't understand, like, going back to, being from Oakland, like it's a different ball game, man. Like at Oakland Coliseum, the Black Hole, just the everything about it, man. I would have did it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So, the falling in love with the process, and the preparation part of becoming that elite level athlete, if you can't do that part, then the back end or the fruits of your labor, if you will, would never come to fruition, because you gotta love this game, man, because it's tough. It's tough. It's very tough. At some point, the money is not going to be enough to sustain that drive and that passion. It just won't.
No, I would have loved to have seen a game in Oakland. Of course, I would have had my Oakland hat on and my Oakland jersey on, because I should have known, right? I should have been wearing my Oakland gear today.
Oh, you did.
But
my favorite color, though.
Yeah, there we go. Right, we got something right. But yeah, no, I would have loved to have gone to a game in Oakland and just experience that whole craziness.
Yeah, man.
In Oakland.
Other people from other teams I've seen, they won't let you use the bathroom at the Oakland Coliseum. If you had that on, no, seriously.
I know.
It's very serious. Like, and I'm not glorifying the acts of some, but Raider fans, man, serious, man.
Savage.
It's very savage.
Very savage.
I've seen people get thrown off of balconies. I've seen some wild stuff. But yeah, it was a great time, man. You get to some of those Raider games at the Coliseum. It's in the parking lot, you milling around before the game, and just it's a spectacle.
Mm-hmm. So I swear to you, I'm a lifelong, well, I can't say lifelong, since elementary school, eat, sleep, shit, die Philadelphia Eagles. Even wearing the San Francisco gear, I swear to God. So I go down, it was 2011. I go down to Seattle, my first NFL game. We're sitting fourth row in the end zone, and I'm wearing my Michael Vick jersey, right? Mm-hmm. Vick wasn't playing, he was hurt, which is fine. But I had every piece of food thrown at me you can think of. I couldn't even go use the bathroom without being called dog killer. Like it was savage, man. Completely savage. It was crazy, but I enjoyed every second of it,
Absolutely. The Eagles, man, they one of my friends and a guy that I kind of looked up to, Mark McMillan, he played for the Eagles. He is an undersized DB. He played for Frisco for a hot minute too.
Okay.
5'7". He's from SoCal. He started on that team with Jerome Brown, Reggie, Seth Joyner, Randall Cunningham, Eric Allen. He was a part of that team. And
Ricky Waters might have been there too.
Might have. That was the early 90s. He was there, early to mid 90s. So yeah. He has some stories for me, man. Like he played with some dudes, So Big Reggie White, like all those guys. So, I used to love Randall Cunningham. The Eagles. I like the Eagles too. I'm a Raider fan. Like I was 3 or 4 before they moved. So I remember the first football anything I had was an actual Oakland Raider helmet. They brought it. I was at Children's Hospital for something for a couple of days, and they had visited the hospital and gave me a helmet. So I just, even when LA borrowed them for those 13 seasons, I was a Raider fan. The silver and black, it's something about it. And I actually got to meet Al Davis.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was a junior in high school, and we went to a Raider game, and one of the coaches I had played in the league, and we got to go and meet him. He had on all white. It was like I saw bruh. Like it was amazing. And Jack Tatum gave us he was our DB coach for a week before my senior year in high school.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Came out there, he just never smiled. He had this scowl on his face. He just, man, he you could tell he was a tough motherfucker, man. You could just
don't fuck with him.
Yeah, don't fuck with him. He was cool, teaching us some stuff. So once again, I've been blessed to be around some great guys. Like I coached the NFLPA College All-Star game in the past 2 years. I got a chance to be on the staff with Darryl Green, Brian Cox, Carnell Lake, Rod Woodson.
Wow.
Yeah, just some great guys, man. Marvin Lewis, Mike Tice, just some real good football minds, man. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunities and things that I've had afforded to me because of the game of football. So that's why I'm such a big advocate for, you know, young people chasing this dream because it's attainable. It really is. And it's a beautiful thing. So, you know, I'm like I said, I live with zero to no regrets. And, you know, I'm happy. I'm blessed that things were able to unfold the way they did. And the football gods blessed me because it was bleak after the Tennessee thing. I didn't honestly know if I was ever play football again.
Right. Yeah. And I believe you too, like you said, you know, everything happens for a reason because it truly does. But sometimes it takes a long time after that reason had happened to realize that happened for a reason, you know?
When you're young, you don't realize, you don't understand. Nothing in life happens by happenstance or accident. It's like, you know, like I think it's time and place and opportunity meets, opportunity when you're the preparation meets the opportunity, or when opportunity meets opportunity, things happen. So I just truly believe that, you know, in life, if you want something bad enough, you just gotta work. You just gotta put your head down and grind. And you know, there are factors and variables in life that can hinder or stop or cap, if you will, your progression. But when you believe in something bigger than you that's really orchestrating these things, no man or woman alive can stop what God already said. Okay. So
that's right.
That's kind of how I live my life. I mean, you can't live your life worrying about, you know, somebody hating on you or trying to stop whatever you're doing. You have to just, you know, find some type of, you know, energy within and say, you know what, God already said yes, so what you say don't matter. So I'm gonna have faith and keep focused on what my goal is, and I'm gonna just keep chopping wood. So that's kind of how I go about my business.
Yeah, and that's not just football. That's life. That's life. Period.
Absolutely. Football is a very small part of the big picture. And I just use football because it's just, like I said, it's the greatest game ever invented. And it's such a great tool, and it's a vehicle, and it correlates so well with real life. You know, it has so many real life applications to the point where during the course of being a football player, you're gonna go through adversity.
Yes, sir.
Lots of it, you know. You're gonna have times where there's peaks and valleys. There's gonna be uncertainty. There's gonna be times when, you know, things look very bleak. But, you know, through perseverance and drive and being able to overcome those things throughout being a football player, a lot of people don't understand that's your battlefield for life after football.
That's right. And
you can use all those same tools that you've put in your toolbox within the game of football in life. And I think a lot of former athletes make some of the best businessmen. You know, so I just think you're a better individual for being an athlete, period, because you do understand discipline, you do understand perseverance and dealing with adversity, you understand pushing through and doing things when you maybe don't really want to do them, but you got to do them, you know? So I think being an athlete gives you a great advantage over just a regular person.
For sure. So does the coach always have a pencil in his hand?
I'm, you know, I got the dog running around here. I got to
Yeah.
people. I'm just chilling. Like, it's a beautiful day out here.
Yeah.
And the pencil just happened to be next to my MacBook, so I just picked it up.
There we go. Yeah, and honestly, you never know what tomorrow brings. And
Right.
so you got to live in the moment and you have to enjoy what you got, every day, man, because tomorrow's not guaranteed, right?
Absolutely not. It's a life is precious, man. And when we're young, we feel invincible,
Yep.
a lot of vigor. We think, that'll never happen to me. I'm getting on all the roller coasters. I'm doing all the daredevil shit I could think of, you know. And then as you get older and you have kids and you start living life and you start to understand and you start to lose people in life, you start to realize, whoa, yeah, let me slow down and enjoy this stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing too. I mean, saying that, I mean, I've developed driving anxieties right out of nowhere in my life now, where I'm like chicken shit driving either with people or on the highway, and I'm just like doing the speed limit. Where now as a kid, man, I didn't give a shit about nothing. And that's where that all is. You start to realize people start dying,
Yeah.
like suicides or health reasons or accidents. And you start to realize that life is short. Life is short, man.
Yeah, and then you can be like, when you're young, you don't think those things will ever happen to you.
Nope.
And when it affects your circle or something close to you, that the older you get, that's when you're like, oh yeah, this really can happen to me. So you got to cherish life, and like I said, that's why for me, going for the gusto, man, every time, because at the end of the day, what do I want Dante Marsh life to be like? If somebody was to read my eulogy, and what would it, I try to think about that sometime, when I'm, throughout my everyday life, like, dang, if it was all over, what would they say about me? Like, so going back to the football thing, it's like creating and building a legacy, and not just from the sport, but he impacted so many others' lives. That's
in a positive way.
Positive way. Wasn't detrimental to his community. Didn't get involved in that bullshit. Actually uplifted people in the community. Gave back. Helped the younger people coming after him to press forward. Creating a infrastructure where others can be successful. Being an entrepreneur. Being a person of value. Being a mentor, being somebody that is looked upon as, somebody that has wisdom, somebody that can take another person where they can't take themselves. So, I kind of live in a way of, I'm going to get my blessings on the back end.
Yeah.
The thing for me is, how many other people can you impact in a positive way, and that you can actually help propel them further in life, which in turn will help you get propelled in life. So it's kind of like a two-way street. You don't do it for a, what you're going to give me type deal. You just know, I'm doing this from a pure heart, to the point where I already know, or I already believe, and I have faith that I'm going to benefit by doing these good deeds anyway, some way, shape, fashion, and form. It's not a selfish thing. It's like,
not at all.
When I pass, people can say good shit about me. Like,
that's right.
He wasn't an asshole. He was actually a real good dude. He helped this person, that person, that person, this person. He did this. He created this. He started that. He was a part of this group that did this. That's how you're supposed to live your life.
Yeah.
And I'd always felt that way. Like, even as a young person, I wanted to be famous as a kid. Like, I wanted to be on TV. Not in a like a selfish way though. I wanted that legacy type thing. I didn't want to work at a warehouse. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get up and be involved in a rat race and fight traffic and drink coffee and cuss people out and have rope. I didn't want to do that. And I knew that as a young kid, and I wanted nice things. Like, so how can I get that legally, because y'all know the streets, the illegal shit, it doesn't end well. So definitely didn't have a future in that because the streets don't have a pension plan.
No.
Yeah, so from a young age, I just figured out, hey man, I want to do this. I fell in love with it, and I did it. So
That's good that you realize that the streets didn't have a pension plan. It's good that you realize that early, because being in Oakland, I mean, you could have gone right off the ship.
yeah,
You know?
my daddy used to tell me all the time, and there's some things that I see, and I tell people this all the time too. People know Coach Marsh, or that they know Dante, the football player. They don't know Dante unless
The
you
man.
So there were some things I'm not too proud of growing up that I kind of fucked around with, but that's why I can speak from the view that I'm speaking from, because I'm an inner city kid. I wasn't exempt from the bullshit.
Right. Man, I got stuff in my past that I'm not too proud of either, but that's how we grow. That's how we live, right?
You have to. And like I said, you don't want to glorify it, but I had to go through that, and I had to do those things, and I had to, be in that environment to become who I am today. So I'm great for it. I don't have any regrets about it.
No, made us who we are today. Do you want to keep rolling through this, or?
We're good. I mean, we got a few more minutes. I need to. Guess about 15 more.
Okay. So I might have a little bit longer than 15 because we got way off track.
Let's shoot it down. Let's go.
So no, but I'm saying that we could almost we could come back at it maybe tomorrow or Sunday if you want. I can make this part 1.
Yeah. We could do that.
Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So because I mean we're about to get into 2006, so we still have some material to cover. We haven't even touched on the Grey Cup yet. Grey Cups.
Right. Yeah, we could either do this. You work at night?
So right now my schedule is I don't go back to work until Sunday night, so I can work with you, man.
So I'll hit you this evening.
Okay.
That time this evening we could bang it out, and if not this weekend we could get it done. Okay,
sounds good, man. Do you care if I throw this up on Facebook today and tag you in it? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, that's cool, man. Dante, this has been amazing, man. I've it's been a great talk, man. It's been real,
No, and I'm a real person, so I love it. Like, it's cool for other people to see that really don't know you like that, to get to be involved in a conversation or see you speak. I know, for example, when I was my early part of my career in BC, I still had dreads. I had a mouthful of gold teeth.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was lost a little bit, I would say, but no, a young guy, but I was always articulate. And I remember doing an interview, I want to say with Scott Rentoul.
Okay.
And I remember once I started talking, he looked at me. And I got that from Lowell Ulrich too. Like, my first few interviews, and when I started talking, they would kind of look at me kind of in a surprised way. Scott may not remember that, but I know how I felt, the energy, like, wait a minute, he speaks well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was one of those things. So no, I love Scott, man. And Lo was cool, and we developed a good relationship over a course of 11 years, man. And I love the whole province up in BC. Vancouver reminds me a lot of like a Berkeley and San Francisco type of feel to it. A lot of Asian, Indians, and it's multicultural. It's a melting pot. So it's real California-ish.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I felt like home away from home, throughout my career up there, and I'm looking forward to getting back up there after this pandemic is done. So, yeah, man, I thank you for having me, and anytime, man, we can shoot the shit and touch bases. I'm all for that. It's a great platform, and I think more people need to do it. And have I actually watched I don't know the name of it, but I watched one of the episodes yesterday. It was Chad Johnson, Channing Crowder, Brandon Marshall, Reggie Wang, and a couple other guys. They're doing like a round table. It was dope. And
nice.
I would love to do some shit like that.
Yeah, I would too, man. I mean, this is just starting out as a hobby. I don't know where this is going to go for me. I actually work with people with drug and alcohol addictions for a living.
Okay.
And like I said, I mean, the pandemic hit and we were working less, and I was sitting at home working out. I mean, I try and hit the gym in my basement as much as I can, stay in shape. And all of a sudden light bulbs start going off in my head. And I've always talked with Mike Edom and Chris Rainey and Baseko Lacombo kind of online. We've kind of developed a bit of relationship as a fan to a player point of view. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get a chance to see these guys play this year. I won't be able to like go and talk to them at the stadium. So I'm going to talk to them online and I'm going to record it. And that's where the whole thing came, man. And now I'm talking to you.
Absolutely. I'm real media friendly.
Yeah, for sure you are. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think more people need to do it. I had some people reach out to me and ask me, Marsh, man, you should start a podcast. I'm like, I'm open to it. I just, it's something that I've been thinking about. I just got to get the time. Mm-hmm. So, no, I appreciate the reaching out, and we can definitely put it together. I'm all for it. And like I said, I think more of these type of things need to happen, especially with the downtime. It gives us the ability to connect, and people, we can get people in on this and really get it bigger and grow it, and then have a direction. I like the open, candid talks with the athletes, because a lot of times people view us a certain way and they really don't know. And then not only that, let's talk real shit. Let's get on here and talk like normal people.
I agree.
I'm not perfect. I'm not a bad person, but I will cuss.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me a bad person.
There's nothing wrong with cussing on here. And that's the thing too. I mean, I had a podcast with a friend of mine named Sandy Pembroke, and he was a professional boxer. And after we ended the show, we had way more of a conversation about like suicide and like real shit. And it got real. And that, you know what? I want these shows real. Like it's real life. People need to hear these things sometimes, right?
Because people live in the realms of false reality and reality shows, which are scripted. Like, we can, my undergrad is in sociology. I worked as a lead counselor in a group home with at-risk youth before too, in my off seasons way back when. So I'm very well versed in what you're talking about. That's definitely, we actually, some of my former college teammates, we used to do a cigar roundtable. I go down to Fresno and we'll go to spring ball and do some alumni events, and then we'll go to a cigar lounge, and then we talk about mental health.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that needs to be talked about more. And I think even more so in the athletic community, because people don't understand. And I told somebody this before too, and some people miss it. Just like earlier, I alluded to a football player kind of being like a soldier, which is very real. The comparison is there. I brought up the point that a lot of inner city African American athletes have PTSD. Mm-hmm. And if you grow up in a plighted neighborhood or urban area in any major metropolitan city across America, you probably have PTSD.
Probably do.
As a kid, you should not see people get shot. No. You should not see people having drug overdoses. You should not see heroin needles. You should not see crack cocaine. You should not see a lot of these things, drive-by shootings, etc. Bullets flying. Hey, jump in the bathtub.
Yeah, you shouldn't be abused. You shouldn't be raped. I mean, I don't want to talk about those things, but it shouldn't happen.
And I was gonna get to that, but I'm saying in those areas, everything we just said happens a lot, and people don't talk about it. And I know, especially in the African American community, we as men have to become okay. It's okay to talk to other men. It's okay to talk about things that you're dealing with. For me personally, I think we're taught wrong. I'm raised old school. My dad was a great dude. But I think, we're, because I kind of did that with my son a little bit too. It's that toughness. Like, you fall down and scrape your knee, don't cry. You better not cry. Like, shit, get up.
I got that too, man.
And that's not just that's a man thing. But mm-hmm. I think we have to be taught both sides, because it's okay to deal with your emotions instead of bottling that shit up and one day cracking because I don't even know why, but that shit is suppressed deep down inside, and I never dealt with that. You know, I never dealt with certain things as a youth. I never dealt with, oh man, I seen that lady get killed over there. I never dealt with that.
Right.
And
Creates
now,
a volcano.
and now you're 40 years old, you're 30 years old, you're 37 years old, and all of a sudden this shit comes to the surface and you don't even know what it is. But it's just a lot of suppressed emotion and things about things that you subconsciously normalized. That's totally not normal. No. And you know, that needs to come to the forefront, and we need to speak on that. That'd be a dope segue into.
If you're into it, so me and Sandy Pembroke, this boxer friend of mine, are gonna get into it. And if you want to join in on that and we just start talking real shit, man, I'd love to have you part of it.
Definitely, man. I'm all for it, because people need to know the real. People need to hear these things. People need to understand that life is real. Everything isn't, you know, even as a former professional athlete, everything wasn't perfect in my life. Like, I went through a major divorce.
I've been there too. Not major, but.
And I known this woman since high school. You know, we had 2 years together, built a great life together, and then, you know, I guess, you know, you get married young, and then at some point things you grow apart. But in the event, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm happy. I'm on fire. I'm ready to allow fans and certain people into the life of, you know, they need to see that stuff. I think this, you know, technology has afforded us the ability to really reach out and touch more people. We've actually made the world smaller.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we could have like hours and hours and hours of avenues to go down through life experiences. Hours. I mean, and your stuff that you saw when you were younger, I mean, is probably going to be a lot more fucked up than what I saw. I'm just being real, but it doesn't mean that it won't relate in one way or another, or doesn't mean that somebody doesn't need to hear that, hey, you know what, like, you know, suicide's not the only way out, right?
At all. And that hits home with me. Cato, our equipment manager. I had just talked to Cato, and I developed a good relationship with Cato over a decade, man. He would call me in the off season and stuff, and things of that nature. He was just a good dude, man. And then, you know, we talk about one of my former teammates' wife. You know, I don't really want to say names, but that bothered me, because, you know, she watched my kids, we watched their kids, you know, when I was up during the season.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, sad.
Yeah, that made me feel some type of way. So yeah, that it definitely needs to be addressed. It's definitely not the only way out. It should never be a way out. But once again, when you're feeling these feelings and nobody else can understand where you're coming from, they don't get it. I think because I went through a bout of depression about 7-8 years ago.
I've been there, man. We'll get into that.
Yeah, it's a dark place, man. And
man, I had a whole plan, dude, and I was minutes away. I don't know where you were at with yours, but it was close, dude. And
I never thought about doing that, but I felt like my life was spiraling out of control. And it could have probably eventually got to that had I not been the type of individual, had I not been who I am, or playing football. Oh, it could have got ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm just so thankful that I
persevered.
God, man, I don't want to sound like this super, you know, religious freak or anything, but I'm telling you for a fact, it's 100% unequivocally real shit, unadulterated real. God exists. And if there was no God, I wouldn't be here talking to you, because there were so many instances in life, even from a youth, I look back and I'm like, wow, I could have been dead.
Yeah.
Shit could have went really left quickly.
Yeah.
And through the powers that be, man, that's where I got the strength from. You can't deny that. There is a higher being and power orchestrating shit, man.
I guarantee you there is.
And I think had I not had that, we're not strong enough without that. So
no, you know what? I can't get into it right now because I'm going to save the story, but I 100% swear to you that I saved my own life 4 hours before the event happened. And it is really, part of my language is fucked up. And we'll talk about it one day.
Indeed.
And I saved my life, dude. And I guarantee you that there's a higher being out there, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But I had angels on my side that day and they looked out for me and they saved my life.
No, I believe you 1,000% because I have some of the same situations. And once again, you don't just wake up and have greatness inside of you or this undying will and determination to do things. You have to get that from something. Mm-hmm. And, your parents play a major role in that, but they have to get it from something. And it goes through them, through you. And you have to see God, through something. Yeah. And I think I've been very, very blessed and fortunate, to be able to tap into some power sources because of that, So yeah, we'll get into that.
So I'm going to end the show for the time being. Thanks, Dante. This would be the end of part 1, I guess you could say. Okay. And we'll get into part 2 really quick here.
Okay, we'll do it. And then I'll tap in with you later, and then we'll schedule it and put it together.
You're listening to the Third and One podcast. Ryan and his guest will be right back.